Hi, John Gerbwich. I'm a priest from the Diocese of Brooklyn with the Sales Media. Matt, we work with you on many projects. First off, I want to appreciate a great panel. And Matt, I appreciate what you said about the timing issue with all these stories and things like that of reporting things that happened 50 years ago compared to what's happening right now. Of course, my response to that is that, and you've kind of alluded to this, that, if you're in a relationship with someone, married to someone for 40 years, and you find out that they were cheating on you 20 years ago and you're just finding today, no one can say, oh, it was 20 years ago. I mean, we can move on, right? I mean, so all this is fresh, right? And we all know that there's people who still will protest the church because of the Crusades. And so it's not as if, time distance will somehow, heal people's perceptions of the church, right? But that being said, I think the other problematic thing that I face is that really, being like kind of coming of age during the JP2 Catholic years, there was this great thing of like rallying around the Pope or rallying around church leaders because we looked up the bishops as having some type of, countercultural presence in the world. And like for me personally, as I got older, I'm like, I don't even really care what the Pope or the bishops say at this point, and I'm just like, because my faith is not in what they're saying. And I think that right now, I can't like go to a particular figure in the church and say, this person is the guy who's gonna like be the one who's gonna have the saving remnant, for us or something like that, right? So there's like this whole thing where you cannot even rest on any ecclesial figure for some type of guidance right now. I mean, it's just completely shot, right? So the thing I keep on saying to our people at the sales is like, well, can we go to the stories that can give witness to authentic lived Christianity happening right today? Like, what role does the press have today of not just kind of giving a narrative to respond to the scandal, but creating a narrative to show this is where authentic lived Christianity, authentic lived Catholicism is happening. I spent lots of my time, at monasteries, for example, and I think it's a very countercultural thing. It's something that I talk to people that they're fascinated by, even in the midst of all this, because it seems to be not in the mainstream church, right? I spent a lot of time at the Catholic Worker Movement. I spent a lot of time with the Missionaries of Charity. These are people who I think that the press, you got to bring these guys out. Like this is where the new narrative can be. We don't have to always be on the defense. We can be on the offense because there is authentic lived Catholicism, Christianity happening right now. We're not just all just in panic mode, all right? I mean, we're going to live radical. There's going to be people living radical lives. There's going to be new Dorothy Days and Thomas Mertons. Where role do we have? And I'll put myself in this to kind of get that story out, like right now.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We just
Can we get a couple short answers?
Sure.
Maybe get one more question.
We just had a staff meeting 2 weeks ago at the Register, and I was basically asking the same question to our staff. Where are the stories that will bring hope and the people who are living their lives on the ground? And so I 100% agree with you. Thank you.
So I'll be the other side. I think it's true. We need missionary witnesses. We always need missionary witnesses, people who live the faith, and I think we're attracted to those people. So I don't disagree with that at all. But we are an apostolic church, and I think the threats, this sort of delegitimization of the bishops, and even worse, the delegitimization of the Pope, are very serious. And right now, our temptation is to a kind of a congregationalism where we pull back inside ourselves, we put up our walls, we focus on our parish, and I think that's wrong. And I actually think the Catholic press, while telling those stories, I do think that lumping all the bishops together as somehow that they're all like clones of Cardinal Law or something, and that completely misses what happened in November at the bishops' meeting with these incredibly eloquent statements by these bishops. And there's this whole new generation of bishops that's coming up post-2002, really post-2010, who were passionate in what they wanted to see happen and their love for the church and their frustration over what's happened. I don't think we back away from that. I think we need to affirm that. And I think the threat, my problem with the Vigano letter is that it was an epistolary coup that was attempted. It was that the Pope should resign. That was, to me, unforgivable. And I think that we have to resist that. That doesn't mean we have to bless every single thing the Pope says or that the bishops say, but we're not being Catholics if we just throw all that away and say we're gonna feature the Catholic Worker House that's doing some great work. I think we're more than that.
Yes, just quickly, I think it is, it's very important to tell the whole story. That's what journalists do. And what happened on June 20th in the church, a small part of what happened on June 20th in the church is what we've been talking about. But, millions of people worship the one true God, and millions more were forgiven in the sacrament of confession, and people got married, and we fed the poor, and we buried the dead, and we ran hospitals, and we ran universities, and all of that happened that day. And, there is a place for critique, for respectful critique, for investigation, for reporting. Places like CNS and the Register do it well, and there is a place for that. It's a vital role of the Catholic press. But the other thing that we can do is tell the story, those very stories that you mentioned. I'm happy to say that in America we just launched an initiative that's called The Good News, and it is our editorial attempt to surface those stories for people, because as important as it is to read another story about this crisis, another editorial that is critical of this or that, as important as it is to do those things, people need to be reminded of the hope that keeps us going.